Hello, this is Slate with Combo of Rocks, bringing you another video deck of a deck that we built and have for sale. If you're not familiar with us, we make and sell custom budget EDH decks. These decks are light on the budget, so they may not be optimal or competitive, but they're definitely fun and centered around a central theme that you can build on. So today we have Jolrael, Mwonvuli, Recluse, which is 1 and a green for a 1/2 legendary human druid. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 green cat creature token. 4 green until end of turn. Creatures you control have base power and toughness XX, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So yes, this is a strange one. This is green card draw with no blue in it, but let's get into the deck. We have Praetor's Council, 5 and 3 green, return all cards from your graveyard to your hand, exile it, then you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Pretty handy in this deck, especially because we have quite a few cyclers in the deck to fill our graveyard with. Primordial Sage, 4 green for a 4/5 spirits. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. Thunderfoot's Baloth, 4 green for a 5/5 beast with trample. As long as you control your commander, it gets +2/+2, and other creatures you control get +2/+2 and have trample, which is pretty important for our cat tokens. Audience with Trostani, 2 and a green, a sorcery, create a 0/1 green plant creature token, then draw cards equal to the number of differently named creature tokens you control. Most often this is only going to draw you 2 cards, but a divination that gives you a 0/1 green plant isn't so bad, as well as maybe a 2/2 cat token. On the Trail, 1 and a green enchantment. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you can put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Just a good way to ramp and get some of those lands down onto the battlefield. Sage of Ancient Lore, 4 and a green for a star. Power and toughness equal the number of cards in your hand. When he enters, draw a card. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform it. It does become a Werewolf of Ancient Hunger, Vigilance, Trample. Power and toughness equal to the total number of cards in all players' hands. And at the beginning of each upkeep of a player casts 2 or more, transform it back. Tireless Tracker, 2 and a green for a 3/2 Human Scout. Whenever land enters, investigate. Whenever you sack a clue, put a 1/1 counter on it. Sacking clues draws this card, so very welcome in the deck. Emerald Medallion, 2 mana artifact. Green spells cost 1 less to cast. Psychosis Crawler, 5 mana star. Power and toughness equal the number of cards in your hand. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses a life. Lifecrafter's Bestiary, 3 mana artifact. On your upkeep, scry 1. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you can pay green. If you do, draw a card. Mazemind Tome, 2 mana artifact. Tap it to put a page counter and scry 1. Pay 2 and tap it to draw a card. Whenever there are 4 or more page counters, exile it. If you do, you gain 4 life. Brittle Effigy, 1 mana artifact, 4 tap, exile it, exile target creature, just some good removal in green. Thought Vessel, 2 mana, taps for colorless. Important that we have no maximum hand size. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. Mind Stone, taps for colorless, sack to draw a card. Heraldic Banner, choose a color. Creatures of the chosen color get +1/+0. Also adds a mana of the chosen color. Commander's Sphere, taps for mana of your commander's color identity or sack to draw a card. Stone Speaker Crystal, tap for 2 colorless. 2 taps, sack it, exile any number of target players' graveyards, then draw a card. Hedron Archive, taps for 2 colorless. Also 2 tap, sack, draw 2 cards. Ravenous Amulet, 2 mana artifact. 1 tap, sack a creature, draw a card, put a soul counter. 4 taps, sack the artifact. Each opponent loses life equal to the number of soul counters on this artifact. Brainstone, 1 mana artifact. 2 taps, sack, draw 3 cards, and then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Bag of Holding, 1 mana artifact. Whenever you discard a card, exile it from your graveyard. 2 tap, draw a card, discard a card. 4 tap, sack it, return all cards exiled with this to their owner's hands. Collector's Vault, 2 mana, 2 and a tap, draw a card, discard a card, then create a treasure token. J-Loom Tomb, 2 mana, or 3 mana, 2 tap, draw a card, discard a card, artifact. Brawlos of Pharaoh's Band, 3 green for a star. Power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. When it attacks, draw a card, then put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Howl of the Night Pack, 6 and a green. Sorcery, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield for each forest you control. Just gives us a bunch of creatures. Llanowar Visionary, 2 and a green for 2/2 when it enters, draw a card. Also taps for green. Shaman of Spring, 3 and a green for a 2/2 elf shaman. When it enters, draw a card. Fa'idai Seer, 1 and a green for a 1/1 human shaman. Tap it to draw a card and reveal it. If it isn't a land, discard it. Kenris Transformation, 1 and a green enchantment. When it enters, draw a card. The enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a green 3/3 elk. Trash the Town, 1 green instant with Spree. Pay 2 to put 2 1/1 counters on your creature. Pay another 1 to give a creature trample. Pay another 1 whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. Draw 2 cards. Llanowar Elves, 1 green for 1/1, taps for green. Arboreal Grazer, 1 green for a 0/3 beast with reach. When it enters, put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Enter the Unknown, 1 green. Target creature you control explores. Then you can play an additional land this turn. Utopia Sprawl, 1 green, enchants a forest. The forest then taps for additional mana of the chosen color, which would be green in this deck. Fertile Ground, 1 and a green. Enchant a land, taps for additional mana of any color. Rampant Growth, 1 and a green. Search for a basic, put it on the battlefield tapped. Secure Tribolder, 1 and a green. Same thing, but you sack the creature to do it. Dawn Treader Oak, 1 and a green for a 2/2. You do have to pay a green to sack it and search for a basic. Explore, 1 and a green. Play an additional land this turn, draw a card. Scale the heights, 2 and a green, put a 1/1 counter on a creature, you gain 2 life, play an additional land, draw a card. Beneath the Sands, 2 and a green, searches for a basic, puts it on the battlefield tapped. If you don't want to do that, you can cycle it for 2 colorless. This is Pilgrimage, 2 and a green, search for 2 basics, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, the other into your hand. If you have 2 or more instants or sorceries in your graveyard, search for 3 basics instead of 2. Weirding Wood, 2 and a green, enchants a land. When it enters, investigate. So again, you get a clue to draw a card. The enchanted land taps for a mana of any one color. They went this way, 2 and a green, search for a basic, put on the battlefield tapped, and then investigate. Basswood Surge, 3 and a green, search for 2 basics, put them onto the battlefield tapped. If you kick it for an additional 4 mana, put 2 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Migration Path, 3 and a green, search for 2 basics, put them on the battlefield tapped. Again, this one does have cycling if you don't need it or you just want to draw a card. Nantuko Cultivator, 3 and a green for a 2/2 Insect Druid. When it enters, discard any number of land cards, put that many 1/1 counters on it, and draw that many cards. Excavating Anurid, 4 and a green for a 4/4 Frog Beast. When it enters, sack a land. If you do, draw a card. It gets +1/+1 and has Vigilance if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. Frozen Tusker, 5 green for a 6/5 Boar Beast with cycling 2 and a green. When you cycle it, you do search your library for a basic land, put it into your hand. Elvish Visionary, 1 and a green for a 1/1 Elf Shaman. When it enters, draw a card. Tornado, 2 and a green, destroy target creature with flying at instant. You can cycle it for 1 and a green. Wilt, 1 and a green, destroys an artifact or enchantment as an instant. You can also cycle it for 2. Paw Patch Formation, 1 and a green, instant, choose 1, destroy creature with flying, destroy an enchantment, or draw a card and create a food token. Slice and Twain, 2 green, instant, destroy an artifact or enchantment, draw a card. Dissenter's Deliverance, 1 and a green, instant, destroys an artifact. You can also cycle it for green. Haze of Pollen, 1 and a green, instant, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. You can also cycle it for 3 colorless. Claws of Wirewood, 3 and a green, deals 3 damage to each creature with flying and each player. You can also cycle it for 2 colorless. Rampaging Hippo, 4 green for a 5/6 Trample Hippo, also cycling for 2. Season of Growth, 1 and a green enchantment. Whenever a creature enters under your control, scry 1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. Which works well with these next cards. Wild Size, 2 and a green, instant, target creature gets +2/+2, gains trample, draw a card. Poison the Blade, 1 and a green, instant, target creature gains death touch until end of turn, draw a card. Irresistible Prey, 1 green, is sorcery, target creature must be blocked this turn, draw a card. Aggressive Urge, 1 and a green, instant, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn, draw a card. Into some lands, we have Bonder's Enclave, taps for colors, 3 tap, draw a card, activate if you only control a creature with power 4 or greater. Reliquary Tower, land that gives us no max hand size, taps for colorless. Volatile Fault, taps for colorless, can also sack it to destroy non-basic. That player searches for a basic, and you create a treasure token. Field of Ruin, very similar, taps for colorless, 2 taps, sack, destroy non-basic land, then each player searches for a basic and puts it onto the battlefield. Ominous Cemetery, taps for colorless, 5 tap, exile it, shuffle a creature into its owner's library. Roadside Reliquary, taps for colorless, 2 taps, sack, draw a card if you control an artifact, draw another card if you control an enchantment. Blighted Woodland, taps for colorless, 3 and a green, sack it, search for 2 basics, put them onto the battlefield tapped. Lair of the Hydra, enters untapped if you control 2 or more other lands. Taps for green, X and green, it becomes an XX Hydra. X can't be 0. Mosswort Bridge, enters tapped, you hide away 4 cards, so you look at the top 4, exile 1 of them face down. 1 green, you can play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater. Desert of the Indomitable, it's a desert, enters tapped, you can tap for green or cycle it for 1 and a green. A Hunter's Maze can be sacked to draw a card for 1 and a green. Tranquil Thickets can be cycled for a green. Slippery Cards can be cycled for 2 colorless. Hidden Nursery, 4 and a green, sacks it to discover 4, so you reveal cards until you reveal a card with mana value 4 or less, and then you can play it for free. Memorial to Unity, 2 and a green, you can sack it to look at the top 5 cards, reveal a creature card, and put it in your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library. Jungle Basin, enters tapped, you can return an untapped force you control as it enters, or you sack it. Taps for 2 colors, 2 mana, 1 and a green. And then we have some basic force here. That's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it, but we'll see you next time.